everyone. Welcome to another session of current affairs. Let's get into our first topic. Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana and swasth ke sipahi. Okay. So, what is Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Yojana? It is an initiative by the government. It is an initiative by the government to sell generic medicines to the people, especially the masses. Okay. It is an initiative by the government to sell generic medicines to the people, especially to the masses. Okay. What are generic medicines? Let's get into that first. Okay. You know paracetamol. When we suffer from fever, every doctor prescribes us to take paracetamol. It's an antipyretic drug. That means it is used to treat fever. Okay, let us take the example of paracetamol. Right. When you are trying to understand what is the meaning of generic medicines, there are two other terms you need to understand. Them first. You need to understand them first. First term is patent drugs or patent company. Second is branded drugs. Third is generic medicine. Okay, to bring out a medicine for a disease, to invent a medicine for a disease, lots of research is done. Lots of scientific research is done. So, to do the scientific research, these doctors need lot of infrastructure. Right, lot of infrastructure, laboratories, sufficient funds to build up all those, to build up that environment. So for this, for all this research work to discover, to invent a medicine, lot of expenditure is needed. Let me take an example of paracetamol. Okay, if to invent paracetamol, let us take a company. It's an example, guys. There's a company called X. X company has invested crores of rupees. It has done all the medical research. It has done the scientific trials. What are scientific trials? These trials are done first on animals, then our controlled trials are done on human beings. Okay? So, lots of amount is invested in this. And when that medicine is invented, this company takes a patent rights. That means it's sort of copyrights. A company takes patent rights. That means only that company can sell paracetamol. Since company X has taken patent rights for paracetamol, right? Only this company can sell paracetamol in the market. Otherwise, other pharma companies which have taken rights from this company, which have bought the rights from company X, can also sell this paracetamol, which they manufacture in their pharmaceutical companies. So, right, what you have to understand is, so this patent company will produce this drug for a period of 12 to 20 years. In India, it is 20 years, guys. For 20 years, no other company can produce that drug without this permission from this company X. No other company can produce. So, in this period of 20 years, the amount earned on selling paracetamol, you know, paracetamol is a very required drug. Every drug is required to a certain class of people. So, this company earns lot of money and also profits. Lot of money, since they have kept all the expenditure in the research work, they get their money back and they also earn lots of profits in this period of 20 years. Okay, these are called patent drugs, right? And since these companies which are taking rights from the patent companies, they also do some sort of promotion, they do some sort of marketing, and they sell under their brand names. Hence, these are called branded drugs. Right? These are since this company is paying money to company X, right, to sell paracetamol. So, these are called branded drugs. Okay. After a period of 20 years, any chota mota pharmaceutical companies can produce these medicines under generic medicines. Why this? Normally these branded drugs are costly and these generic medicines are way cheaper. Why they are way cheaper means these companies, these pharma companies which produce generic medicines do not have any expenditure. They are just selling, they are preparing the drug and selling it, that's it. So they are not doing any promotion, they haven't done any research work in the previous, they are not doing any marketing. So since a branded company has to bear all the expenses, these branded drugs are costly. These generic medicines, generic companies do not have any bigger expenditures. So these generic medicines are. Now I hope you have understood the difference between a generic medicine, a patent drugs and the branded drugs. Now you will have a doubt, a very common doubt. What is that doubt? Are these branded medicines and generic medicines have the same composition? Yes, these branded medicines, these generic medicines have the same composition. Composition is same. Quality, same power and same performance. So if a branded drug a paracetamol manufactured by a branded company reduces your fever, then the paracetamol produced by a generic company also reduces your fever. There is no differentiation. In this branded drug also the composition will be 500 mg. Normally the paracetamol dosage is 500 mg. And this generic medicines paracetamol also will have a dosage of 500 mg. The composition is same, the dosage is same, the quality is same, the performance is also same. So there is no difference between generic medicine and a branded medicine. So this Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana is to sell these generic medicines to the public through outlets called Jan Aushadhi Kendras. Jan Aushadhi Kendras. These are generic medical stores, guys. Generic Aushadhi Kendras to the people. Right? Now you have understood what are generic medicines and why they are cheaper. Okay? Previously, this generic medicine was first generic medical store was installed in 2008 in Amritsar. So since 2008 to 2014, only 100 drugs, only 100 medicines were available in these generic stores. But after 2014 till today, more than 636 medicines plus 136 surgical items and consumable items have added to the list since 2014 to 2017. So 636 medicines have been added to the list of generic medicines, and 136 surgical items have been added to this list. And 2016 onwards, the Medical Council of India has asked the doctors also to prescribe only generic medicine, because there is a criticism, guys. There is a criticism from WHO stating that in India, people in India pay a lot from their income towards medicines. Expenditure is lot towards medicine, and this is creating burden to the public. So this is creating burden to the public. That was a sort of criticism from WHO. It's sort of not sort of criticism, but sort of suggestion to asking the government to take action. Okay. So previously there were limited medicines under this generic, limited medicines sold under this generic, under the name of generic drugs. Now so many medicines have been added. Not only that, different departments have been also be added to the basket of generic medicines. Let us try to understand what are they. First are antibiotics, which are basically used to treat your bacterial infection. Second, anti-cancer drugs. Previously these are very costly and not in the reach of a common man, and those also many of these anti-cancer drugs have been added under generic medicines, have been brought to the gambit of generic medicine. Thirds are cardiovascular drugs, which are related to your heart, not your heart, guys, to the patient's heart. Cardiovascular drugs and gastrointestinal, which are related to your stomach, to one's stomach, gastrointestinal drugs, and many more departments of this medicine have been added to this list of generic medicine, and these are available at this Jan Aushadhi Kendras. And government has also brought Indian Railways to help in this matter. These Jan Aushadhi Kendras, which we discussed earlier, these stores, these Jan Aushadhi Kendras will be installed at 1,000 railway stations throughout India. At 1,000 railway stations throughout India, and they will also be installed at PSU run public sector undertakings of India. PSU run petrol bumps, okay. And for the sake of women, sanitary pads will also be sold. Sanitary pads will also be sold at this Jan Aushadhi Kendras at 4 pads for 10 rupees for the health of women. Okay. So now we will try to understand why it is in news. That's the important part. Now the description part is over. Why it is in news? Because swasth ke sipahis are the pharmacists of this Jan Aushadhi Kendras. They were pharmacists of this Jan Aushadhi Kendras. What they did, they played Jan Aushadhi Kendras and swasth ke sipahis, who are the pharmacists of these stores, have played a key role during this COVID-19. They have played an essential role in supplying these medicines to the doorstep of people. Supplying medicines to the doorstep of people, especially elderly people. Because during the lockdown, no one had to come out. Even if they have to come out, these generic medical stores may be far away. In this situation, this swasth ke sipahis went to their homes and supplied medicines, and people could buy at their doorsteps at a very affordable prices, and especially elderly people. Due to this COVID-19, elderly people are very much prone to the disease. They are under the vulnerable section. They are easily prone to the disease. So those people should not come out at any cost. For these swasth ke sipahis played a very prominent role in this during this lockdown, during this COVID-19 situation. So that's why it is in news. That was about Pradhan Mantri Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana and swasth ke sipahi. Okay. Let's get into our second topic, anti-smog guns. So what are these anti-smog guns and why they are in news? So 14 organizations in Delhi, or shall we say 14 anti-smog guns were installed at 14 projects in Delhi. Right. Why they were installed? Because previously in January, the Supreme Court gave a ruling that the Supreme Court of India gave a ruling that every organization, every project which needs environmental clearance, from state or central government, and if they occupy an area of 20,000 square meters, then they have to install anti-smog guns in their premises. Okay? The organizations which need their environmental clearance to install their projects from state government or central government have to which are occupying an area of 20,000 square meters need to install anti-smog guns in their premises. That was the ruling from the Supreme Court, and following that Supreme Court, 14 anti-smog guns have been installed in Delhi. That's why it is in news. Okay, now let us try to understand what is this anti-smog guns and how does it work. We know that the pollution levels in Delhi are severe. From the last October, the pollution range of Delhi is in severe category, and it is very alarming and hazardous. So the government of Delhi has decided to bring in anti-smog guns to reduce this pollution. Anti-smog guns to reduce this pollution. Let us try to understand what is an anti-smog gun. There shall be a truck or lorry. There shall be a truck or lorry. On the back of this truck or lorry, there will be a water tank. And a gun-like device. This is a gun-like device is attached. So, gun-like device is mounted on the back of a lorry or a truck fitted to a water tank. This device shoots out water droplets into the atmosphere to a height of 50 meters. It shoots out water droplets. Shoots out water droplets into the atmosphere till a distance of 50 meters. 50 meters. So 50 meter దూరం వరకు ఇది వాటర్ డ్రాప్స్ ని షూట్ చేస్తుంది. So what happens, all the dust PM2.5 and PM2.10 particles, particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10. Okay, I'll explain you that. So what happens is, when water is shooted out into this atmosphere, this dust reacts with water, and since it is suspended in there, when it reacts with water, it comes down and falls on the ground, right? Hence reducing the level of pollution in that area. Okay, it is a mounted device on a truck or lorry. It shoots water droplets into the atmosphere till a distance of 50 meters. These water droplets mix with dust in the atmosphere, and after mixing with water, these dust particles come and settle down on ground, therefore reducing the pollution in that particular area. Okay, you have understood that. Anti-smog guns. Itini వెదచల్లుతుంది ఈ డివైస్ అనేది. Okay, right. Let us try to understand what is particulate matter 2.5 PM. I'll write it down briefly. Particulate matter. You know the width of our human hair, guys? Width of human hair is 100 micrometers. 100 micrometers. So this particulate matter 2.5 has a width of 2.5 micrometer. Hence the name. So ఆలోచించండి. This is 3% the size of a human hair. మన చుట్టూ వెంట్రుకలో 3% ఉంటుంది వాటి వెడల్పు. So now you have understood what is particulate matter 2.5. Particulate matter 10. These size of these particles are 10 micrometers. 10 micrometers. Okay. This particulate matter 2.5, the main ingredients, should I say, what is particulate matter 2.5 are soot and the smoke, tobacco smoke, then smoke from wildfires, right? Vehicular emissions, diesel engine emissions. Vehicular, let me erase this, guys. Vehicular emissions from plants, that means power plants, right? Smoke from wildfires, any fire, tobacco smoke. These are all the main sources of particulate matter 2.5. When it comes to particulate matter 10, it is mainly comes from the dust from construction sites, pollen. Okay, now we have understood what is particulate matter 2.5 and particulate matter 10. So all these dust particles, when reacted with water, settle down on earth, therefore reducing the pollution levels in the atmosphere. Okay, so that's why the Supreme Court had asked all the organizations which need environmental clearance to install these anti-smog guns, and that's why it is in use. Hence it is important for us. Let's move into our next topic. Our next topic is Pradhan Mantri Laghu Vyapar Man Dhan Yojana. Okay, so what is this scheme? Right, It is basically a pension scheme. It is basically a pension scheme. Pension scheme for whom? For all the retail shop owners, you say, retail shop owners, self-employed people, small hotel owners, real estate agents, all this kind of people, okay, who are self-employed people mainly, right? Okay, retail shop owners, oil mill runners, rice mill owners, small hotel owners, real estate agents, all these sort of self-employed people. Okay, so what will be the benefits? The benefits will be, first, eligibility. Before going to the benefits, eligibility. All these people should be in the age group of 18 to 40. All these people should be in the age group of 18 to 40, right? Their annual GST turnover should be less than 1.5 crores. Should be less than 1.5 crores. There are few other clauses also. They should not be the beneficiaries of, first is they should be 18 to 40 years, between 18 to 40 years of age. Second is their annual GST turnover should be less than 1.5 crores. And third is they should not be a beneficiary of national pension system or national pension scheme, national pension scheme, employee state insurance scheme, and employee provident fund scheme. So they should not be a beneficiary of national pension scheme, employment state insurance scheme, and employment provident fund scheme. They are not the beneficiary of any. They should not be beneficiary of anyone also. So then they will be eligible for this pension scheme. It's basically a voluntary, it's a voluntary age specific contribution scheme. That means there is a certain amount which is told by the government for these age groups. Okay, there will be an amount for 18 years old, and there will be an amount prescribed by the government for the 40 years old. So every age will have a prescribed amount. That prescribed amount, if suppose a person have to pay 100 rupees monthly, then government will also add 100 rupees monthly on his behalf. So every month 200 rupees will be gone under this scheme, will be paid to the government, and this is implemented by Life Insurance Corporation of India, LIC. This is implemented by Life Insurance Corporation of India. So it's a age specific contribution. That means government specifies a certain amount for every age group. It's a voluntary scheme, and it is auto debit scheme, guys. You are not paying anything. Before going to that, you would need two things. You would need what are the documents required? The documents required are, no documents are actually required. No documents are required. Only you should have a savings account and Aadhaar number. So every month this prescribed amount by the government will be deducted from your savings account on an auto debit. So you have to maintain that amount of balance in your savings account, and it will be deducted automatically. It will be deducted automatically every month. So those are the beneficiary. After attaining an age of 60 years, he shall get an amount of 3,000 rupees per month. 3,000 rupees per month as a pension. 3,000 rupees per month as a pension. So on attaining, so the beneficiary who is paying in this age group, who has attained 60 years, then he shall be paid an amount of 3,000 rupees per month. Okay, and there are certain clauses to remember, guys. Let's see what are those important clauses. So we have understood that if the person will be paid 3,000 pension every month. Suppose if the person has paid for 10 years, he has paid the amount, the contribution for 10 years, more than 10 years, and if he wants to stop that scheme, then the amount contributed by him, will be given back with the interest of a savings bank interest. So with whatever the amount he has invested, along with the contributed amount, the interest on saving banks will be calculated on the contributed amount, and that amount will also be given to him back. Oh, sorry. One more thing. This is less than 10 years. If he has paid for less than 10 years, the contribute and he wants to exit at that point of time, the contributed amount by him plus the interest of savings bank interest will be paid back to him. Okay? And if it is more than 10 years, that means if he has paid for more than 10 years, the contributed amount by him plus interest on pension fund or savings bank interest. Interest on pension fund or savings bank interest will be paid back, whichever is higher. If the savings bank interest is higher at that point of time, that interest will be calculated on this contributed amount and paid back. And the interest of pension fund is more at that point of time, then this interest on this contributed amount will be calculated and paid back. So, if the person dies, let us understand death clause. If a person has paid the total contribution and he has started taking interest, let us imagine for 2 months he has taken interest. He has attained the age of 60 and for 2 months he has taken interest. After he dies, his spouse, that means his wife, will get half pension. If he has contributed completely. And if he has died before the term, before the 60 years, his wife can continue to pay on his behalf. His wife will continue to pay and on his behalf, and she can run the scheme. His wife will continue to pay on his behalf and she will run the scheme on his name. One more clause, the disability clause. Here also in the disability clause, his wife can run the scheme. She can join and run the scheme. She can join and pay on behalf of her husband, and can stay in the scheme. Or she wants to exit the scheme, and if she wants to exit the scheme, she will be paid the contributed amount. Plus the interest on savings bank. Interest on savings bank or pension fund, whichever is higher, only in the clause of permanent disability, guys. Permanent. Okay. So, why this is in news? Why this Pradhan Mantri Laghu Vyapar Man Dhan Yojana is in news? It is in news because the government wanted to include almost 3 crore traders into the scheme, and they had a target of 50 lakh by this March. But there were only registrations of 25,000, which was very, very less. In many of the states, the total registrations were in only 2-digit numbers, less than 100. So, this was in news. That was a alarming point for the government, since there were very less contributions in this scheme. So, this was in news. So, that's all for the today. Let us meet in the next session of current affairs. Thank you.